Greetings, friends and enemies, and welcome back to Art by Flan. So today, instead of spending the next 10 minutes talking about a process that I'm sure all of you are way too familiar with at this point, I guess I figured I'd do some sort of brain dump of something I've been thinking about, I guess. And that is the art community's obsession with improvement. And now I'm not saying that improvement is bad or that you shouldn't work on improving. That's exactly not what I'm saying. But coming from a personal place, I want to talk about how an obsession with improvement literally stunted my ability to create art. And I've seen it manifest in different ways in a lot of different people. The most common one being, if this isn't perfect, why should I bother? If I don't get it right the first time, why should I bother? And that comes from a lot of different places for different people, mental illness, just how you are in general. It's a weird thing, and I've been talking with a lot of people who've been experiencing it lately, so I figured I'd share my story with this sort of happening, and how being part of a community that measures your worth in how fast that seems to measure your worth and how quickly you are improving and how quickly you are grasping concept really can damage your urge to create. Now, for me personally, art is not a job. It is a hobby. It is supposed to be fun for me. And so that's where I'm talking about. That's where I'm coming from. I'm not talking about people who do art for a living. I'm not talking about people in the industry. I'm not talking about commission artists who do all of this with a I have to mentality. This is strictly from a personal art perspective. So I guess it was a couple of years ago. Well, I say that. It's been more than a couple. It's been about 4 or 5. I was at a place in my life where I didn't create as much. And now, I'm not gonna say I didn't create it all, because I did, but a lot of my creativity and a lot of my progress in general was stunted by the idea that I wasn't spending enough time on improving. I wasn't spending enough time practicing fundamentals. I wasn't spending enough time doing studies. And every time I picked up a pencil to draw, nothing would come out. Nothing came out good, or nothing came out at all. Because every time I picked up a pencil, my only thought was, well, if you're not going to work on the things you should work on, you shouldn't be drawing at all. Which is absolutely not the case. And I also see that reflected a lot in the community, whereas, oh, their art's good, but they'd be better if they just spent more time on the fundamentals, or if they just, improved a bit more, they'd be really great. And if you're not doing art for a living, if art is supposed to be fun for you, then the rate at which you're improving doesn't matter. And we as a collective community have this obsession with improving. Now, everybody wants to improve. Everybody wants to get better. Everybody wants to make what they put on paper match what they see in their head. That's sort of an overarching eternal goal for artists, is to reach that pinnacle, and no artist ever does. We continue to create until we die, and it never quite looks like we want it to. But the idea, and I've seen this, that people who don't post studies, who don't share, tips, or don't, make a public effort to show that they're improving, are looked down upon as lesser artists, because they're not sharing those processes, they're not sharing those steps. So everyone just assumes that they're content in where they are in terms of their art skill. And if you are, that's fine. Like, everybody wants to, I'm not going to say everybody. When I say everybody, I mean it in a general term. But it seems like everybody wants concrete proof that you are using your abilities as you should, quote unquote, and not just to do something you enjoy. And so when I realized that that was what I was experiencing, that I was worried about what people thought when they saw my work, what they assumed about me in my art journey, was enough to keep me stunted. I wasn't producing, I wasn't practicing, I wasn't creating anything that I enjoyed. And so it's like, Daddy, well, why didn't you just practice? Because that wasn't what I wanted to do. Art was supposed to be fun for me. Art was supposed to be something to kind of take me away from the struggles of my life at the time, because I was in a really different place. I had also just moved out of my childhood home for the first time, living with roommates instead of with my family, and that also played a lot into it. I'm not gonna lie that I did have, external factors also affecting my ability to draw. But thinking back on it, the main reason that I never created when I had created during tumultuous times before was this idea that I was wasting my time creating things I enjoyed and not things that would help me improve. And the one thing that kept coming back to my mind over and over and over again was, you can draw what you want when you're better. The problem with that train of thought is, better never comes. The idea that we as artists will reach a pinnacle, that we'll reach a peak where we are satisfied with what we do, is impossible. It never happens. No artist will ever be 100% satisfied, will never reach a point in their life where they think, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to have to improve anymore. This is what it's going to be like forever, because it's not. Because whether or not we consciously put in the effort, whether or not we subconsciously put in the effort, our work changes and, yes, improves over time. And so the idea that an artist is only worth as much as they're improving is really harmful, not just to beginner artists, but also to structured artists, to professional artists. This idea that we're only as good as our improvement shows is really damaging. And I see it a lot in places that are critical of artists' work, that, oh, well, they've been drawing this same thing for years, they're obviously not any good. Well, yeah, I mean, they're not branching out, but maybe they don't want to. Maybe it's not a big deal for them. Maybe drawing pretty witchy girls is all they want to do because it makes them happy. Art is supposed to be this thing that brings you joy. Think about why you started doing art in the first place. Think about how happy it made you to create these characters, these worlds, to replicate what you see in life, to bring that all together and create something new from it. And that's a joy I think we as artists lose with age. We lose that childlike wonder of art, just because we do it so long and we grow up and we lose childlike tendencies as we grow. And then, especially if you get into, say, an online scene or whatever, the idea of, well, how can I improve? How can I get better? You know, I gotta be this good or this good before I can do this. And it stunts our growth, our natural growth. There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve, but you should never boil down your art, the worth of your art and the worth of you as an artist, to your improvement. Improving should be something you want to do, not something you have to do. You get what I mean? Like, this probably doesn't make any sense. It's sort of just like a brain dump thinking about it. Because like I said, I've seen it quite a bit around that, you know, a lot of people are, well, you know, this artist isn't any good because they're not improving, but they are. It's just not at a fast rate. Some people seem to improve overnight, you know, and whether that's because they have a natural gift for just picking up on how things look, or if they're really putting in the effort behind the scenes to study from life and study color theory and all of that, you don't know. Because if the artist chooses not to tell you, that's their business. But an artist's worth should never be boiled down to how much they can and will improve. It should be about what they create, I guess, in a sense. Are they creating stuff that brings them joy? Are they creating stuff that's profitable, if that's their goal? Are they meeting their goals? Because it's so hard to determine what makes an artist, what defines an artist's worth, because art is something so personal to each individual artist that just finding their worth of an overall spectrum is nigh impossible. But don't let the fear of not improving fast enough stop you from creating. Because improvement will come, whether it's natural, whether it's something you put a lot of effort into, it's going to come. But just don't let it zap away your creativity. Don't, think everything you post online has to be studies and life drawings to show that, yeah, I'm improving, so I'm entitled to draw this bullshit anime stuff later. You can draw that bullshit anime stuff now. There's nothing that says you can't. And that's sort of what I've been thinking on, I guess. Just this idea that a lot of times, especially in art critical communities, that artists are only good if they're working on improving, and it's not a thing. Improve at your own pace, improve how you can. Don't make it your entire life. The video should be coming to an end soon, so I figured I'd take this last couple of minutes and talk about the actual piece. It's more fan art for the Arcana. I've been obsessed with that game for the past several months. If you haven't downloaded it and tried it, do it, especially if you like dating sims with really cool stories. But it's just one of the love interests, Julian, and my character for the game, Cersei, being all schmoopy. If you like what you see, don't have to click that like button. You can subscribe, leave a comment, do all that YouTube stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.